Hello, this is Elaine Sugar, award-winning children's program facilitator and overall supporter of children's dreams. Welcome to the Empower Teen Self-Esteem podcast. We bring you ideas and resources that help teens shine and help ease parents' minds. I want to welcome everyone to this episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Today, we are going to talk about stress and the things that we can do to reduce stress with someone who has studied a methodology, someone who coaches others. So I know a lot of our teenagers have things in their life that can cause stress, like big exams, big tests that you have coming up, sometimes interactions with friends, sometimes you're at a different place or you have a difference of opinion with your parents. So this should actually help parents and teenagers. So we are going to join this discussion with Suzanne Ellison. Welcome, Suzanne, and thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Elaine, and thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. So I am really interested in getting into this topic to see what advice you have to share for us. But before we dig into the topic, can you take a moment and tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, with pleasure. About myself. Okay, I don't want to bore anybody, so I'll try and put it in a nutshell. I've
I,
lived.
I read I read information about you. You will not be boring. So don't even worry about that.
Okay, so I traveled a lot when I was growing up, so I was exposed to a lot of different cultures and different ways of doing and thinking and types of ideas, which was something I didn't fully appreciate as I was growing up as a teenager, and I'm sure teenagers can appreciate. But as I got older, I then went to live in Zambia in Africa, and
Wow.
that was I spent 27 years there, and it was mainly in the farming community. So I ended up being I was bored actually. I had nothing to do. I got married very young, and I thought, you know what, people will always eat. So I opened a recipe book, and
Mm-hmm.
I just looked through and looked to see what kind of recipe really sort of looked easy and would people would enjoy. And what do I come up with but ice cream? So ice
Oh,
cream in Africa, and there wasn't much. There wasn't where I was living at the time, which
uh-huh.
crazy. But so I thought, well, you know what? I'll just make some ice cream and see how it goes. And of course, over 25 years, it grew and grew and became a national brand,
Uh-huh.
uh, along with another 7 products in the dairy line. And along the way I thought, well, this is crazy, because the more my business got successful was the more my so-called friends were increasing the price of the ingredients I was buying from them, so all the cream and things like
Oh.
that. So I thought, you know what, I'll just get a few cows and I'll make my own, have my own cream, my own milk and things like that. So I bought 10 cows, and I was in my 20s, so I knew about how people procreate and
Mm-hmm.
the birds and the bees and things like that.
Uh-huh.
But it didn't occur to me that I would need to make my cows pregnant, keep making them pregnant, to keep getting the ingredients that I needed, like the milk and the
Oh.
cream. So my 10 cows went to 400 by the time I left Zambia. And I had a full blown dairy, which was never really my idea, but it just kind of happens slowly.
Amazing. That's what I'm saying. Now, who is bored right now? So you lived in Zambia, did you say for 27 years?
Yeah, yeah.
And then ice cream has, for the longest time, been my favorite meal in the
Uh,
world, to the point where I would eat it for breakfast at times. That's how much I loved it.
well,
To my teenagers, do not follow me in that. That
yes,
is
I know. Now people say to me, "Well, you were so successful. Why don't you just do it here now that you're in England?" It's like, no, no, seriously, I know so much better now. Well, it's in small portions to when you're making it, and you just have to taste almost every batch to make sure it tastes.
wow. Wow.
You know,
I think I could have helped you with that job.
this is it. I needed a professional taster.
That would have been me. That I could have done that job very well.
Yeah, but it was really it was a really good experience. But unfortunately, the because of my upbringing, I kind of really didn't fit into the way people live their lives, and I'm talking about the white community that I lived in, because of course
Yes.
Zambia is African, and you the white community. You gotta really excuse me if I say anything that's not PC. I'm not very PC. What how we talk about each other out there is very different to how we're supposed to talk about it when you're in these kind of countries, England and America and stuff. So
Yes.
I don't mean any offense or anything, but so we had the
No,
white.
let me just stop you right there for a minute and just say that my reason for having this show is to spread and share ideas and resources so that we empower children. And I think everything is not always going to be sweet and rosy, but I think those are especially the topics that we should take time and explain to them, because
Yeah.
that's empowering them even more. So you go right ahead and tell your story. That's why you are here.
Oh well, thank you, because I actually get upset because we had, well, most of us, like anybody does, you don't have necessarily have respect for everybody, but it wasn't about color or anything, so we had the white people, we had the black people, and we had
Hmm.
the Asians, the Indians, and we called them Indians. They weren't Pakistanis or anything. So, and everybody was okay with that. So so yeah, as I say, we were PC within our that every in a way that everybody was happy out there, but it's very
Hmm.
different to being what's okay in America or England or Europe.
Right.
So I'm still kind of trying to catch up sometimes. When people's eyes go big at something I say, I go, oops.
Well, you know what? We live and learn, and our teenagers will have to learn, and a lot of us adults. I've studied diversity, and I'm still learning. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And it,
we're different, and we're alike in many ways, and so we just it's a learning experience. It's an ever learning experience,
and
understanding diversity.
yeah. And it kind of actually feeds into teen self esteem
Mm-hmm.
for anybody. Because if you're a confident person with a good, strong self esteem, words, something that somebody says, maybe out of ignorance or
Mm-hmm.
because of their upbringing, and this is a big thing, is that we make everything about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And when something like that comes up, if you take a step back,
Yeah.
mentally, and you look at that person and you think, well, why would they say that? It's really about that person. It's not about you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is a really, really big thing for anybody to take on board. When I mean, even over there, because we're such a small community, you always have the people going, oh, they didn't say hello to me today, or they didn't this, or they didn't that. And
Mm-hmm.
I work with anxiety and, yeah, low self esteem. And one of the big things with that is people who have anxiety, lack of confidence, low self esteem, think that when somebody doesn't acknowledge them or looks at them in a certain way, they have this whole dialogue that they think the person
Mm-hmm.
is having. And
Right.
as I say to my clients, I've yet to meet anyone so far who can, even psychics, I don't think get it right all the time, who can read the minds of other people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we take a step back and just think, well, hey, is this about me? Or maybe they're in a bad mood. That's why they looked at me the way they did, because they were actually thinking of something that happened to them that day or that morning, you
Right.
know? So that's a
That's right.
big thing in I think in being confident and having a healthy self-esteem, is that you just let it roll off you. As they say, water off a duck's back. It's you just let it go, because it's
Yeah.
not your stuff to take on board. You know?
Yeah, and so when you're in those situations where it is stressful, so say that person looked at you that way or didn't speak to you because there is a problem, and now you're wondering and worrying about it, and you're upset and you're stressed.
Mm.
what are some of the things that you can do to relieve stress when you feel it?
So, and I'm, some people may say I'm not a good advocate for this because I've got, it's almost like having different therapies now, all these autoimmune illnesses you have, which are all stress related.
Hmm.
But uh, so I have one or two autoimmune illnesses, which I horrify my doctors because I refuse to take the medication because it's like, no, no, it's okay. I'm studying how our
Mm-hmm.
body works and our body can sort itself out. I don't
Oh,
need your
wow.
medications, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
and so far I'm good with that. At the end of the day,
Good.
it's my body. If I'm shortening my life, that's fine. I'm learning in the process. There's, you know,
Uh-huh.
anyway, so stress, how do you deal with it? So the main modality, the main method that I use is EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, or also
Mm-hmm.
very known, more popular is tapping. So you tap, and what you're doing is you're tapping. It's like acupuncture. It's the acupressure family of
Mm-hmm.
methods, and you're tapping on the acupoints of the meridian lines that flow through your body, your energy, your field of energy, because we are 99 point, what is it? I think it's 6 nines percent energy. We are energy.
Yes. So, can you do me a favor? So, maybe probably the last two statements that you just made when you were explaining what tapping is. So,
Yeah.
for our teenagers who may not know yet what acupuncture is, and when you say,
Okay.
can you just re-explain that maybe in some of the most common terms to tell us exactly what EFT is again?
Okay. So the method of acupuncture and even EFT comes from um, the eastern part of the world. So from China, Asia,
Mm-hmm.
places
Mm-hmm.
like that, and it's actually he didn't discover it, but there's an American guy called Gary Craig who pioneered it and brought it to the public, and he used it. He combined the Eastern method with Western and created this therapy called EFT, Emotional
Uh-huh.
Freedom Technique. And what it does is if you have something horrible happen to you, like you make a fool of yourself in class and the whole class laughs at you, or the teacher picks on you and everybody laughs,
Mm-hmm.
and you're this one person, you just get totally humiliated.
Mm-hmm.
Humiliation is an emotion. So, what the teacher did by humiliating you, they did that. That's a
Mm-hmm.
fact. But
Mm-hmm.
it's the emotion that you attach to that situation that is what creates, reminds you every time you go to class and you see that teacher. It reminds you, it's the emotion that you've attached that triggers the memory and
Mm-hmm.
reminds you of what happened. And what EFT or tapping does is you tap and you release that because emotions, and once again, are energy in motion. So
Mm-hmm.
we're dealing with energy again. So you tap, which is what EFT does, emotional freedom technique, and
Okay.
you disconnect that emotion from that memory because
Oh.
it's the emotion that keeps that memory alive. So when you grow up as a kid and your parents are horrible to you, or like unfortunately is often the case with people I work with, they've had either physical or emotional abuse. And you
Mm-hmm.
carry that through your life because as long as there's emotion attached to the memory of what happened to you, you keep
Mm.
remembering it and remembering it. And that's how
Wow.
your subconscious keeps you safe
Mm.
because it reminds you, oh, you're heading for another situation that's similar to this negative situation that happened a few years or a few months ago. And so it says, be careful. So that's why you constantly remember bad things
Hmm.
because, and negative, depressing things, because it's your subconscious trying to keep you safe from being threatened and having something horrible happen to you again.
Okay, so if I compare this to if I'm a little child and I go to touch the stove and it's hot, and then I pull my finger away and I cry and I do whatever it is, and now I always associate that pain with the stove. I'm
Exactly.
thinking about it. I'm not getting burned again, but when I think about it, that anxiety, that tension comes back. So you're saying this tapping method, it actually keeps me I still
Disconnect.
remember and I understand that the stove is hot, so I know to be careful, but I don't have to continue to stress over it, continue to feel that emotion
Yeah,
repeatedly.
this is it.
Okay. I love
So
it.
for the average teenager going through school exams,
Mhm.
everybody, by the time you get to a teenager, you know what exams are, and if you're not great at
Yes.
it,
Mhm.
you start to get tense. How well am I going to do? Oh my god, I need to pass, and I need to move
Mhm.
on, and I need to get this grade, and all that
Yep.
stress just at the thought of exam, that one little word exam, creates all this anxiety and stress. So if you were to tap, it's okay, I've studied, I can do this, I'm not stupid, I've been studying all along, I know this, it's just the exam. And because I'm so what because you're not confident that you
Mhm.
get, and you when you want something really bad, and then you're not confident, that
Yeah.
creates stress and anxiety, doesn't it? So what this does is it calms you down, because when you're in that anxious mode, you can't think straight. So if you're
Exactly.
anxious when you go into an exam and you can't think straight, and you look at that piece of paper and it's just like, I can't answer anything on this, you know, but you can once you calm down and you lower. And that's the thing, is you can do this without even being obvious. You can do this under the table,
That's
your
awesome.
desk, or tapping on the side here. There's lots of videos on YouTube and stuff of how to do tapping, but you can tap on your wrist, tap on the side. Some people just tap the side of their head. That's not
Mhm.
obvious. Nobody's going to make fun of you, and you can just calm yourself down, and then take a really deep breath and go, oh, you just let all that anxiety go because you've been tapping.
You
And
know
then
what? I think this is so empowering because, like you said, you can do this anywhere.
yeah,
Nobody will know. And to my teens and to my parents, because we all have stress, this is actually literally something that there's no reason why any of us cannot do. All
this is
of
it.
us can actually tap. And if I'm following you correctly, and this is my first time hearing about this, so let me know if I'm getting this correctly. It does not matter what part of the body, and it doesn't matter the tap doesn't have to be anything loud that can be heard. And does it matter which part of the body it is?
There's seven main points that Gary,
Okay.
he had, like, I think there was like 20 originally, and then he just refined it down. So basically you do it in a sequence, but if you want to get really good results about something,
Mm-hmm.
then you really want to be specific and focus in
Okay.
on it, especially memories or things like that. But if you're in walking into an exam room, all you
Mm-hmm.
need to do, because you're already so focused on what it is you're anxious about, the
Yes.
exam and the paper, you just need to tap. So the one is the head, which you don't want to be doing in the classroom because everybody will
Right.
laugh at you. And then the
Uh-huh.
next one is in front of the eyebrow, to the
Okay.
side, which a lot of people tap on their temple anyways.
That's
you
right.
know and then under the eye, which is not, again, not that obvious if
That's
you just tap
considered
here.
like the cheek,
Yeah, yeah,
or is that above?
it's just on the cheekbone, yeah. So the bone's
Okay.
here, and it's just under it on the soft spot. And then in the
Okay.
dip of the nose, the dip of the
Uh-huh.
chin, and then
Uh-huh.
here. I mean, I often just tap here when I'm out, and I'm
Yeah.
just thinking, okay, Suzanne, you can do this. Just breathe. You can do this. You can do this. I say that to myself all the time when I'm challenged by something. Um, and then, as I say, the karate chop point is here, and that's what
Okay.
it's called. So when you do a karate chop, right, this bit here,
Right there
you
on the
just
side
tap
of
it,
the hand.
and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, or the inner wrist.
In a wrist. Okay.
So you can easy, and because you're so focused, it will work. You don't have to do all the others. If you come to see me, then we do all the others, and there's a lot more that goes on. But just for that, for anyone, and for parents who have expectation of their kids, and their kids are playing truant, or they're not studying and things, just to calm themselves down and say, you know what, I choose to believe in my child. I
I
choose to
like that.
believe that they are capable. They've been really fantastic for the whole year. They've studied well. They got pretty good grades. So I choose to trust and believe that they will do okay in their exams. Something like that for parents,
Mm-hmm.
because you got so many balls in the air and you're juggling and everything, and just to be able to go. And the best way to find out if it's working is that when
Uh-huh.
you're really anxious, you give yourself a rating of 0 to 10. And then, so if you're really anxious, you're like 6 at an 8,
Mm-hmm.
and then you tap and you say, I just choose to calm myself in this moment. I choose to feel calmer. Everything's okay. And this is it. The past is past. Yeah. When we started this interview, that's already gone. It's in the past. The future
Yes.
hasn't come yet. The end of the interview hasn't come yet. When it comes, it'll be in the now. So what you do is you just think right now, right this moment, I'm okay. My kids are okay. I'm okay. We've paid all our bills, whatever is
Mm-hmm.
worrying you in
Mm-hmm.
this moment, you're okay. And then
I
you take a
love that.
minute, because that's all
That
we
is,
have, isn't it? Is the moment.
yes. And you know what? You're helping me fulfill my promise, because one of my promises for this show was that we would bring you tools, and that's not a tool that you
Yeah.
have to purchase. I
Nope.
love that. So there's no reason why we can't use it. And then that actually ties into the things you were saying for the parents to say, I believe. You also have a message that what we believe creates our reality. So, do you want to explain to young people how powerful that is, and what you mean by that? Because I believe the same thing.
So when you're born, your parents have beliefs. They
Hmm.
believe, how what kind of manners you should have, what you should say when you meet somebody older. Say hello, say thank you, say please. Those are beliefs of how that they teach you of how you should behave and
Hmm.
act. You don't steal. You don't be horrible to people. You don't bully. You know,
Hmm.
those are all beliefs about if you want to be a nice person, if you want to be a good person, these are the beliefs you have of how you should act, how you should think. If you see somebody beating somebody else up, and you say that's not right, and you say, well, why is it not right? Because I believe that's
Hmm.
not how two people should treat each other. Okay,
Right.
so when you stop and think about what your beliefs are, and your beliefs about yourself, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm hopeless, I'm useless,
Hmm.
I'm not smart enough to do the exams. Those are all beliefs, and those beliefs have come from somewhere, either from what people have said to you, and
Hmm.
then you believe it and you treat it like it's a fact. I can't, I'm stupid, I can't, I'm dumb, I'm never going to pass this exam. You're already stating what your result is before you've even seen the paper, you know? So when you focus on being positive, and
Hmm.
maybe I'm not as smart as I want to be, but it doesn't mean I can't learn to be smarter.
Hmm.
But when we focus on the negative and negative beliefs, that's when we come unstuck. That's when we get into trouble. That's when we end up being failure. What is failure? Guys, what is failure? If you don't fail, I bet every single one of you, if you're a teenager, you're standing up and you're walking. Exception if anybody's had an accident or something like that. But for
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
average kid who's a teenager, you are standing up and walking. Let me tell you, you should go ask your mom or dad how many times you fell down when you were learning to walk, and you got
Ah,
up again over and over. I'm telling you, it probably was 50, 60 times that you fell down. But as a little kid, you didn't know what the word failure meant. You just knew you wanted to walk. So
that's
you kept
awesome.
trying and trying and trying. Failure is how you get experience. Doesn't
Mm.
I am is a very powerful two words. I am. I am a failure. No, you're not. What
Mm.
is, you may have failed doesn't make you a failure.
I
You know,
love that point.
really
That is
powerful
so
words.
powerful. Yes, words matter. So you have given us a lot of wonderful information, and I can't imagine that people are not wanting to learn more about tapping and more about how they can connect with you. So why don't you take a moment and tell everyone how they can get in contact with you and anything else that you want us to know?
Okay, I've got my website, and it's simple. It's Suzanne Ellison dot coach. So it's Suzanne with a Z and two N's, SUZANNE. And then it's Ellison, ELLISON dot coach, COACH. And there's not a lot on it because people are so overwhelmed nowadays that
Hmm.
the person who made my website said, just put the minimum. So if you want to know anything more about tapping and how you can use it to make yourself feel calmer, to make yourself feel confident and positive, then I there's a tab there where
Mm-hmm.
you can book a call, and
Nice.
you can get I give you so much information without having to work with me. It's all about giving you the information, showing you, telling you, explaining to you how it can work, how you can apply it. And sometimes that's all you need. You don't need to do a course or a program or anything. You just need to know how to use that. And I am more than happy to just talk with people, and share that information and spread the word. Because as Gary Craig, who pioneered
Mm-hmm.
EFT and tapping, he said every kid should learn this when they go to school. They should learn how to do tapping and how to apply it for themselves. And that's what I want to do. I want to keep sharing that message. So the tab is there to book a call. If you want to try it without speaking to me, there's
Mm-hmm.
also a free download. The tab is there, and it's anxiety to calm in 5 minutes. And there's a video
Nice.
that goes with it. And somebody said to me the other day, "Oh, that's ridiculous. You can't do that in 5 minutes." But you can. You give
Huh.
yourself that rating of 0 to 10, and you start tapping, and you can bring it down within 5 minutes. Okay, I'm not going to put that on my free download to go out there, and it's not true. So it's very true. So it's worth trying. I show you how to do it. There's a video there where I go through it with you,
Mm-hmm.
and they can download that for themselves. But
Fantastic.
it's a really powerful method, purely mainly because you can do it for yourself. You don't need to pay for a therapist. You don't need to go to the bathroom and do it in secret. You can do it there at the table while you're about to turn over your exam paper or anything like that. You see somebody coming down the corridor at you who upsets you, and tap on it. Why does that person make you anxious? Have they been horrible to you or what? And you just say, it's not about me. They're in a bad place, and they're
Awesome.
picking on me. So I choose to forgive them because they don't know any better. Always
You know
turn it
what?
around.
That's so awesome. I love it. You have helped me deliver today, Suzanne. We have delivered ideas. We've
Right.
delivered tools and resources, and there's no reason why. And then your generous offer to have a conversation with
Yeah.
everyone. So I want to make sure all of my listeners know that she's giving you something you can do right now. And
Right
then
now.
she's also said if you want to talk to her without a charge, she can talk to you about it, a 30-minute session. And that session will leave you with enough tools again that you can do this for yourself. And beyond that, if you don't want to have a conversation, you could just go to her website and download it. What more can she do? She could have brought us some ice cream.
Yeah.
No,
No,
but this has been yes, this has been fantastic. It was far from boring. how do you get bored in a conversation with ice cream and 400 cows? No, this has been really wonderful. I think we touched on a lot of things. I want to say to my teens out there and the parents, I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and please stay tuned for our next episode of Empower Teen Self-Esteem. Thank you so much, Suzanne.
Thank you, Elaine. And just a word to your teens: never doubt yourself. You're far
Yes.
more capable than you realize.
I agree. I agree. So remember that, and I will talk to you the next time we have an episode of Empower Teen Self Esteem. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Empower Teen Self Esteem. Please follow Kids More Sugar on social media. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel to show that you support this content. And you can visit our website at kidsmoresugar.com to learn more about our free online kids program. Thank you.